Once again, we're at the Flora Archaeological Center at Ashland Theological Seminary. And in this session, we're going to be looking at some of our earliest pieces. I'd like us to imagine, what would it be like to wake up around 3000 BCE, before the Christian era, and think about going to a marketplace. Every house or every tent would use and need certain objects. I want to point out that some of the earliest objects in our collection probably were designed after pieces that came from nature. This particular piece, which is 5,000 years old, probably was formed after the design of a gourd that was hollowed out and then dried and then became a receptacle for a vessel of grain, cereal, or water. Also, this vessel, which comes from a slightly later period, shows basket weaving around the sides, preserving the idea that perhaps earlier vessels were made of reeds woven together. Some have even suggested that the earliest pottery was simply pottery stretched over reeds and then baked in an oven. One of our earliest biblical lamps that's pottery might have been formed after the bivalve shell of the Mediterranean Sea. The lower half actually would contain the oil and then the wick rest. The two most representative pieces of what's the early Bronze Age period, which extends from 3000 to about 2000 BCE, are the teapot vessels. We'll talk about them in a moment. And then ledge handles. Notice that here in this earliest period, there are no handles and no spouts. You just have the raw form. And here is what's called a ledge handle vessel that has just pinches of pottery on the side that you can lift. And from an even earlier period, from the Chalcolithic, which is 1,000 years earlier, we just have beads of pottery that become grippers that can be held by the hand. A distinctive piece from the early bronze are vessels that, again, have no spouts, but have what's called a nozzle. They have not invented yet a spout, but this nozzle attached can make the vessel pour or give out the liquid. No handles, no spouts, but natural forms that give way to pottery pieces that become representative of this extensive period that we call the Bronze Age. And the last piece I think we should look at is the predecessor of almost anything that's pottery would be stone. So we have a saddle quern, which would be rubbed with a mullet, and this is the way that grain was prepared. So almost any of these vessels here could contain grain, cereal, or liquids.